Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Sound Guy Show. So this week we're going to talk about things that we can do to better perform while sick. I had a good buddy of mine, Kevin Parsons, had posted, who's a phenomenal singer, by the way, had posted in one of the comments of one of my Facebook Reels asking me to speak on this subject. And it's a great topic, man. It really is, because there has been so many times that I myself have performed sick, times that I have been mixing bands where specifically singers, performing sick. So, we're going to dive deep into this topic here today. But before we get into that, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell on this channel so you can know when I upload videos. I try to do every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Every now and then I'll get busy and just miss a week here or there, but 98.3% of the time I am here on Wednesday nights. So yeah, hit that subscription tab, and it costs nothing to do that. Statistically, half of you people watching my videos are not subscribed to the channel. So please support this content if you enjoy it, if you find value in it, and hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you can see when I post videos. So diving right into this conversation. I have seen, and I know everybody, and I mean everybody, has a story of, playing while sick with the flu or, some kind of stomach bug or something like that. I've seen guys vomit on stage. I mean, I have seen everything you can really imagine like that. Guys black out, on stage, especially in the summertime in the heat. Like if you get a summer cold or something like that, and you get dehydrated in the whole process of getting loaded in and set up, and you're not drinking enough fluids and, that kind of stuff. I have seen guys black out on stage before. So it's a very real reality for those of us that work in a business where the show must go on. So one cool thing that can happen from your cancellation is usually all the working circuit bands are booked for the most part, and in a mad scramble to get the thing covered, which, let me just say this too, if I have to cancel a gig, I'm the guy who usually tries to do the footwork and find another band to replace me, so that when I go to the venue and say, hey, look, we're not going to make it because someone's sick in the band, but I have this other band who is ready and willing to come and play and cover for us. It's up to the venue whether or not they take that band or hire that band to go in and do that. But at least you're coming to the table with having made the effort to try and cover the gig. The cool thing is many times that gives bands that are trying to break into rooms and bands that are not necessarily would have that opportunity to play that room, an opportunity to play that room, because the venue's kind of in a bind at that stage of the game. Excuse me. So if that's how you got to roll and you got to cancel the gig, at least try to bring a positive out of the negative situation and try to give another band, and don't send them some band that's horrible. Send them a band that's worthy of playing the room, a band that, has been trying to break into, the next level of the scene. So with that being said, let's kind of talk about, how we handle these situations. Obviously, we're going to, pound ourselves with medication and stuff like that, cold meds, all that sort of thing. Drink plenty of fluids. I highly recommend getting like Pedialyte, something that is like really jam-packed full of electrolytes and stuff like that, or even like vitamin water, Gatorade, something like that or whatever. And be really keeping that in you. If you're a singer, and I have literally had dozens of singers ask me over the years, how they can get through gigs when they're sick. And I heard an interview with someone who was, it might have been on like one of the late night talk shows or something, with a singer who was singing on Broadway, and was literally singing, like 6 days a week. And here's what they had to say. Take as much vitamin C as you can possibly take, as much as your bowels will tolerate, because you'll know you hit the limit when you start getting diarrhea, because too much vitamin C will cause that. But sometimes the diarrhea is a little easier to deal with than the rest of the stuff. It's not gonna necessarily make you feel better, but it will give you enough oomph, to be able to sing the gig and get through the gig. The other thing is don't whisper. Whisper is harder on your vocal cords than actually normally talking. This person in the interview that I seen was really talking about how in that interview, it was kind of the first time that week that they had even talked to anyone outside of their performance and just absolutely necessary speaking that they have to do their shows with, crew and makeup and stuff like that. But that they made a conscious effort to not speak anymore, and they absolutely had to, because they were saving their voice for the performance. But that not whispering thing was something new for me. I didn't realize that, and I have since heard that from other sources as well, that whispering is much harder on your voice than actually talking. So if you're sick and you're trying to save your voice, don't whisper. Pound the vitamin C. That will get you. I have literally seen people with little to no voice do this, the night before and the day of the gig, and be able to sing the gig and get through the gig. May not have been a stellar performance because they feel bad and, all that kind of stuff. But they're at least able to, get the show moving in the right direction and, not let the rest of the band down and be able to do the show. And in some cases, when, you're a full-time musician, you really super need this performance, to pay your bills. I know a whole bunch of people in that category where it's just like, this is about me just having to go to work so I can make money to pay my bills. So I need to be able to do things that are going to, help me get through this day. Maybe I just need to get through this one gig. Maybe you need to get through a weekend of gigs. The other thing is too, don't do the music that, really strains your voice, stuff that you just can barely sing. I know a whole lot of B bands that are doing music that the vocalist can just barely hit the notes and can just barely maintain correct tone to do the music they're doing. Man, immediately pull those songs right out of the set. This is why it's so vitally important that you have at least one or two other singers in the band, even if they're singers that only sing in emergency situations, and you guys have some songs, rehearsed and in your hip pocket that they can do to kind of give you a break to be able to step off stage, hydrate, maybe spray your throat with some Chloraseptic or something, or whatever it is that you need to do to just kind of, catch your breath. I seen someone one time, I don't want to mention her name because I don't have her permission to use her name in this example, even though it's an enormous compliment. This chick was just putting on the performance of a lifetime, and it was a band that I mix really regular, so I'm very dialed in with how they typically perform. And then between the sets, I kind of seen her hiding backstage, leaned over what I thought was a bucket, and come to find out it was. And I walked back to check on her. I'm like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, I am deathly sick. Like, I am just really, it's all I can do. I've been vomiting all day. It's all I can do to just, keep water down and that sort of thing. And I'm just trying to get through the night. And I'm like, holy cow, I would have never known that in a million years, and I'm pretty dialed into that sort of stuff. But she was such a professional, smile on her face, still energy level around the stage. And believe me, when the show was over, she was done. I mean, they almost had to, carry her, to the car to get her home. I mean, she was completely spent, but it really goes a long way in demonstrating the professionalism that exists in this business. I was so impressed by that. I've told that story 1,000 times. And of all things, she had like strep throat and the flu. I think that week ended up turning into pneumonia or something. She was like really on some hardcore antibiotics for a couple of weeks, really kicking that. But the show must go on sometimes. I mean, it just does. I've seen drummers, get sick on stage, guitar players black out. I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of crazy stuff, man. And it's just about trying to take care of you. In my own personal life, I have a rule that I do nothing on gig day. Whether I'm playing or I'm going out there to run sound or whatever, because I need to be at my absolute best. So I do nothing. I'm not out doing yard work on Saturday morning and going to have to do something Saturday night. That is a huge no-no. You're just kind of asking for trouble and just tempting Murphy's Law. I'm actually right now sitting in Harrisonburg, Virginia, recording this after having mixed a band at the local ski resort all weekend. And, we were all kind of joking, like everyone's kind of thinking about going skiing. Of course, I don't ski, so I'm not thinking about going skiing, but they had a tubing thing there that I probably would have got into. But we're all like, yeah, I'm not going to take the chance, man, and give Murphy's Law a foothold in what could be a disastrous situation, and then break an arm or a leg or pull a back muscle or any number of things that can happen. So you really need to protect gig day, with everything in you, because it's important, man. It's super, super important. I do nothing, and usually the night before a gig, I try to do minimal things. Like I may go out and see a band, or I might go out to dinner with someone or something like that, but I try to get to bed, at a decent hour. I try to get plenty of sleep and get rested up. Especially in the summertime when you're going to be working in the heat and you absolutely know that you're going to get your rear end kicked all day. It's going to be, 16-hour day or something like that, or 20-hour day, God forbid. You take care of yourself. And, I see guys that just abuse themselves, both chemically, drinking and, all that sort of stuff, and partying too much. And then other guys that are just workaholics. And, some of you guys that are weekend warriors and working day gigs, on a Friday gig, you don't have a choice. You got to work all day Friday and then go do the gig Friday night. So, I mean, you can't just block out gig day, because you got to make a living with your day gig too. But whenever possible, don't plan anything on gig day. Hydrate, eat right, get plenty of rest, do all the obvious things that we all take for granted when we're wrapped up in the culture of band life. Band life is hard, man. It really, really is. I read an interview in Modern Drummer magazine one time with Kenny Aronoff, and they were talking to him about, staying fit on the road and staying healthy. And man, he had this whole regimen of things that he is super strict about while he's on the road. And he was telling stories about when he was younger, how he would, party and not get enough rest and eat like crap. And it's real easy to eat like crap on the road, And he's like, man, I was hitting the wall. I was, struggling to get through performances. He toured with John Cougar Mellencamp for years and years and years, and has played with every big major name, band in the world, and recorded. Huge studio rat guy. I mean, the guy's got a resume 6 miles long. And he's like, man, when I'm on the road, he goes, I'm very deliberate about my diet. I'm very deliberate about the amount of rest I get, and I protect those things viciously. And that's not something that I did, even personally in my own life, for many, many years, because, you kind of living the dream, man. You're out here doing what you do. And I was kind of sort of having this conversation with someone a couple days ago about playing in Key West. There's a club in Key West, Sloppy Joe's, that a lot of bands go down. They play a 7-day gig. Well, you're in Key West, dude. So, I mean, if you've never been to Key West, or you enjoy Florida, you want to go out on the beach and lay on the beach all day and, and enjoy, Florida. But the problem is a lot of those resort clubs have like cruise ship demands on your performance, where you're doing 4 1-hour sets a night. and stuff like that. And if you are not being super careful, taking care of yourself, about 3 or 4 days in, you will be dead to the world. And I have heard of the horror stories from bands that just get their rear end kicked because of that very reason. We all know if you go lay in the sun all day, the sun will suck every bit of energy out of you. And even if you go back, especially if you get sunburnt, even if you go back to the hotel, take a cold shower and lay down for a couple hours, you're still going to be zapped, for the performance that night. And most bands are structured to play, 3 1-hour sets, not 4. And so when you get into an environment where you're having to do 4 sets, it's a lot for when you're really healthy and taking care of yourself, much less if you get run down. A lot of guys, when they come from, my area, like the Mid-Atlantic, the DC, Baltimore area, or Philly or Richmond, and they go to Key West in the middle of the winter, as soon as they land, their sinuses will jack up because of the radical climate change. You go from, it's 28 degrees right now, and it's probably, 85 degrees in Key West. I know me personally, anytime I have a radical climate change like that, I have chronic sinus issues. It always jacks with my sinuses, and I end up with a sinus infection. And I have spent many a vacation, having gone to, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, or somewhere in Florida, and just been sick as a dog because of that. So it's easier for me to make that transition in the summertime when it's already warm up here than it is in the wintertime. So that affects your performance, and you got to do the things you got to do to try to get through the night. So, hydrating is great. Vitamins, you should always be taking, vitamins and stuff like that just for your daily health. But specifically if you're a singer, a lot of vitamin C, like I mentioned before. And really do the best you can do to try and take care of you in these environments, because man, being on the road and beating the road and performing every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Thursday through Sunday in some cases, really takes it out of you. You got to pace yourself those first couple nights, and maybe give 75% instead of 100%, so that you have 75% to give on gig 4, day 4. So those are all the things that I've learned. I would love to hear from you guys, because I know you guys have a ton of stories, about being sick, and probably have your own home remedy ideas. We would absolutely love to hear all that in the comments section. Please put all that in the comments section and share your knowledge and your wisdom with the other musicians and people who follow my content, so that we can kind of just be, spreading the love. So love you guys. Again, like, subscribe, share this with people that can benefit from this kind of content, and take care of yourself out there on the road. I'll see you next time.